In this video, we'll be focusing on the common pitfalls that IAC candidates actually face. Hey everyone, my name is Lesego Ranko. I am a chartered accountant, speaker, and digital content creator, and I'm also the founder of Learning, Growth, and Contribution. On this channel, it's all about learning, growth, and contribution. Now, I have my screen over here because this session is going to be very interactive. I want to walk you through a summary of basically the markers comments that I had compiled, and I only used the past 3 years. So I used 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 to collate what are the common pitfalls that IAC candidates actually face. So I am going to start sharing my screen. So this is the document that we're going to be using, IAC common pitfalls. I'm going to put on my highlighter over here. So the first one, I think I've labored on this quite a lot during the sessions already that we've had, the past 3 videos, is number 1, this comprehensive knowledge application. A lot of IAC candidates still struggle to apply their theoretical knowledge into practical scenarios or real life scenarios. So this is a common pitfall, and this is like the main one all the time. If you go through the markers comments, y'all don't know how to apply your theory to your practical. And the only way you can actually overcome this is past papers. SAICA has a list of past papers that you can practice. You probably won't get through everything, but I would advise you to make sure that out of the past exam papers that you see, make sure that you are marking and you are being very concise with at least 1 year. So for example, choose 2024 and 2023. Do those past papers. One of them must be done under exam conditions. One of them can be used to understand how the IAC actually work. So make sure that you are doing past papers. Another thing is doing case studies. So real world business scenarios also help you develop a problem solving skill set. I forgot to mention the top tip from one of my previous videos. So if you hear, this was the top tip. Make sure that you are using an existing company's financial statements to see how do companies actually present themselves, because in the integrated reports, you actually get to see the financial statements. You also get to hear from the board. You also get to know of the issues that companies actually face, and that's going to help you develop your problem skills ability. So make sure that you are using financial statements for an existing company. Also integrate different subjects. This is going to be very visible if you do a lot of past papers, because you get to see how accounting, audit, finance, tax, governance speak to each other. And also, if you watched the previous video, you would have noticed that with my mini case study, that's how you are able to identify how the different disciplines work together. Another thing is your workings. So a lot of people don't know how to reference their workings, and I think for me, I want to read it verbatim, like how I have summarized it, because candidates perform better in calculations than discussive questions, struggling with written communication. And I love this because I think the aftermath of the paper said, and this is a disturbing, I might be paraphrasing. I think the word that they used, that this is concerning, because at this stage of the game, you better know how to explain your calcs, how to reference your calcs. Why are you putting 1 + 1? What does 1 mean? What does addition mean? You know what I mean? That is what you should know at this stage of the game. So practice writing skills, develop a clear and concise, well-structured answer, especially on discussion types. This is where planning your response actually helps, because when you are asked to discuss, you need to be logical with your discussion. So this is where you have to say, what key points do I want to put down? And is there a flow? Which one goes first? Am I going to say A first, or am I going to say Z first? Why am I saying Z first? That's the type of thinking that you must have. Another thing is use your professional language. So avoid slang, abbreviations. I didn't know that people did this. You guys are literally playing games. Hey? People are using their own abbreviations and slang in a professional exam. Yo, hi guys. Let's look at help. You need deliverance. That's what you need. You cannot use your own abbreviations. Please use full English. This is a time where if you need to read to make sure that you really understand how the English language works, dala what you must, do what you have to do. And again, focus on clarity. Make sure that your arguments are logical and supported by evidence. This is one thing that keeps popping up through the history of the exams, is just journal entries. And again, this is very common. I mean, in financial reporting, a debit and a credit is the bare minimum of what you need to know about accounts. But people still don't know how to describe an account. They still don't know how to give a narration for a journal entry. They still don't know how to date journals. So make sure that you go over your basic accounting principles. There's no other way of saying this. At the end of the day, you need to make sure that these basic, you see this word, basic accounting principles. I'm not laughing. I'm actually just baffled, because there's no way that this can be a recurring issue every year, that people don't know how to date, narrate, or understand account descriptions. And this is also going to help if you are using an existing company's financial statements. Practice journalizing various transactions. The one thing that dribbled the June 2024 candidates was the consolidation journals. Groups, nah? Groups are tricky. But guys, come on. You know groups are always going to be tricky. You know consolidation is cream of the crop, creme de la creme of accounting. That is one way of testing competence. Prepare the console journals. Prepare. You can prepare for those things. You know, when you lose control, you can actually prepare those journals. You actually know how to do those journals. So make sure that you practicing various journal entries. Also use the correct terminology. Again, a P&L item is a P&L item. A balance sheet item is a balance sheet item. You know, make sure that you're being very clear. The aspect of time management, The aspect of time management, I have actually stressed quite a lot. I'm not even going to labor that much. I'm specifically going to talk about how you can overcome it. So make sure that you allocate time strategically. So 1.5 marks per 1.5 minutes per mark. Am I saying that correctly? Yes, 1.5 minutes per mark, making sure that even if you perceive difficulty on one question, attempt. You know, if something is dribbling, I always say dribble back. You have to dribble back. Your career is on the line. The 4 letters are on the line. Dribble back. You know, practice under time conditions. Like I said in the past video, get in the car, go to a different environment, start the clock, start writing. See how it actually feels to be under that time pressure. Be under the pressure cooker so that you can feel the heat in the kitchen, and sit in the heat, because that's how it feels on that day. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you when you write that board exam, you are going to be the calmest soul. You are going to be panicking. You are going to be anxious. We were all anxious. It is natural and it's normal. But at least for some of us, we've learned how to maneuver in that pressure. We've understood how to think in that pressure. So also put yourself through that, and don't dwell on the challenging questions. Again, if you stick to the 1.5, you'll be fine. And I've stressed this, move on. A CA knows how to move on. Hey, it's a king. I love this. The second thing is I keep leaving these pages. The sixth thing is your layout and presentation. Again, this is easy communication marks. If you have a plan, you are able to make sure that you are following a correct logical approach, and making sure that you are improving on your readability as well as your legibility of your handwriting. Your practice legible handwriting. I think I said this in the last video, but I have to stress it again, because how is handwriting a correction at this stage? This is traumatic. Anyway, the open book strategy, you are so used to this. You are used to writing with your books. But what you are not used to doing is referring to your books all the time during exams. You cannot be that person. Like, you need to make sure that when you actually reference or refer to your books, it's very critical. It cannot be something that you do with every question, because you're not going to finish. This is where the time management and the open book exam strategy needs to be practiced when you are having your practice time. So make sure that you are preparing thoroughly, right? I love that word, thorough preparation. Develop on a structured index. Again, I have a video where I showed you on how to flag. So let's say, for example, when I spoke about IAS 16, every flag related to IAS 16 was blue. If I spoke about IFRS 3, everything related to IFRS 3 was pink. So make sure that there is a logic, an efficient way to access information so that you're not reading on every question. And we've spoken again about this. I'm not going to labor on it. Make sure that you are practicing under exam conditions. Another thing is equal attention to all competency areas. I have mentioned that you guys are boss when it comes to your financial reporting, but your audit, your ethics, your strategy, your management, accounting, and finance, you are taking. You need to make sure that you are spending time on your weaknesses more than you do your strengths, because your strengths are what you know. What you don't know is what is going to make your plane crash. So make sure that you are literally going over all the other disciplines that you are struggling with. So this one is specifically referencing last year's paper where it was a movie. That management, accounting, finance question kind of showed flames. Okay, so identify your weaker areas. Seek additional support. I did mention that I am giving personalized mentoring for people that need this. I guess the workshops or seeking guidance, you already have your program directors that are giving you IAC preparation, such as UCT or UJ or the other ones. So make sure that you are really using all the support methods that you need if you really need it. And make sure that you also practice diverse questions. So again, this is going to test proficiency across all disciplines, but this is going to be corrected because one single integrated scenario is going to be used across all 3 papers. So hopefully that will come to play. Another thing is candidates often repeat information without providing an in-depth analysis. I want to say this maybe in a better English, to say what you put down, you must be able to back up. You know, if you're going to say something, you must be able to vouch for what you say. Because if you don't, this is how you're going to be able to repeat information. Because if you say what you say and you mean what you say and you back what you say, there's no reason why you'll repeat that information. So don't just be surface level. Critically think about what you're writing down, and also what is the issue at hand, and address the issue at hand. Make sure that even if they say recommend, again, back why you're saying what you're saying. If you're going to recommend, why? Support that conclusion and the argument and the calculation, and say, I believe this is as a result of, I am saying this because, you know what I mean? So make sure that you are backing up everything that you're writing down. Also practice your analytical writing. So if you are somebody that says a paragraph before you get to the point, try to get to the point and then maybe elaborate and then reduce how much you elaborate. I think that could be a winning strategy for you, for somebody that takes a long time to get to the point. However, this is not always going to work. You need to learn to get to the point and back while you're getting to the point. Planning your answer fixes all of that. If you plan your answer, you will be able to express yourself clearly and persuasively, and in such a way that you're going to demonstrate a deep understanding of a matter. And when it comes to ethics questions, I think this is the last point. When it comes to ethics questions, make sure that you are able to identify the ethical concern. And you know what's interesting? A lot of people don't know how to identify an ethics question. But this one, I think for the special people, I'm going to leave them to the ones that actually ask for mentoring, because there's a strategy here for ethics question. And the ones that I've put here are very foundational, but at the bare minimum. You need to be able to know what the CPC is saying. Do you understand the ethical principles related to the CPC? Can you analyze an ethical dilemma? And if you can't, you need to do more questions. And like I mentioned, there's a secret sauce here, but this secret sauce, listen, I'm going to put the website. Let me know if you need for ethics questions specifically. And then also develop ethical decision-making skills. So be prepared for ethics questions. I think this is one thing that you should avoid doing at an IAC level, is to hope and pray that they don't ask something. At this stage of the game, you cannot hope and pray that they don't ask ethics. You cannot hope and pray that they don't ask strategy. You cannot hope and pray that they don't ask IFRS 9. You need to be comfortable with everything and hope that you have spent enough time to understand the principle so that when the question actually does come, you are able to have a strategy to address it. So that's just a summary of the considerations or the common pitfalls that IAC candidates face. And hopefully at the end of this series, you'd be able to see there are common threads in the IAC. There are common missteps that candidates are taking, which can be avoided if you are really disciplined and determined. So I really advise that, again, you go over the detailed markers comments. That was merely a summary of the past 4 papers. And again, you can go further along so that you compile yourself a single list of saying, when I practice, I need to make sure that I stick to time. I need to make sure that I back what I say. I need to make sure that I have a deep understanding of a principle. Like, have a checklist of the things that you need to do when you are preparing and planning to write the IAC. But I really hope that this video was useful for you. Let me know in the comments what you learned. If you made it all the way here at this part of the series, type catalyst. I need to see catalyst, and I need to know that you have gone through the playlist and you are comfortable with the IAC and that you are on the way to qualify as a CASA. But if you really enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, to comment, to share, and to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.